Hi. Who gave you your God? I'm not asking how we got the Bible. That's a topic for another day and certainly deserves some diligent study. But I'm asking who presented your God to you. Or to be more precise, what was the mentality of the ones who gave you your God? The Hebrew people were told by Moses that the God he ran into in Midian was the one true God. He told Moses that his name was YHWH and that he had not been known to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by that name. They knew him only as God Almighty. So this God passed himself off to Moses as the God Abraham worshipped. And Moses convinced the Hebrews that this was the case. And maybe it was. But what did Moses or the Hebrews know about gods? What was their thinking on the topic? Well, they believed in many gods. They said to the Moabites, "You possess the land your God Chemosh gave you, and we'll possess the land our God Yahweh gives us." They saw no difference between these two gods. These people worshiped the Queen of Heaven. In fact, they declared to the prophet Jeremiah, "We will certainly do whatever thing goes out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings to her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then we had plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off burning incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings to her, we've wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine." So the Queen of Heaven was good to the Hebrews. She made sure they had peace and plenty to eat. They believed she was real. These people believed other gods were real to the point that they had their God do battle with the other gods. Elijah came together on Mount Carmel with the prophets of Baal to see whose God could light a fire on the sacrifice. Since it's a Hebrew story, naturally Yahweh won. And Elijah became so excited later, when Yahweh made it rain, but Baal hadn't been able to, that he chased after King Ahab in jubilation. He girded up his loins and ran beside Ahab's chariot all the way to the entrance of Jezreel. Baal was a storm god and was known as he who rides on a cloud. And Yahweh had made it rain when Baal couldn't. So he had beaten Baal at his own game. And you better believe Elijah was happy about that. Think about this for a minute. Suppose I have a husband, and he tells me he no longer wants to be with me. He's found another woman, and he's going to marry her. I'm shocked, of course, and I ask who the woman is. My husband picks up a pencil, a piece of paper, and draws a stick figure woman on it. And he says, "This is the woman. I love her with all my heart." And imagine that I'm incensed by this. I rage with wrath. I scream that he has kindled a fire in my anger that will burn forever. I'm jealous of this stick figure woman, and I say, "I will fight for you. I will go up against her, and I will show you who is the better person for you. I will prove that I am your true soulmate, not this woman." This is what Yahweh did. He came down to have a contest with a stick figure god. And not even that, these people didn't even have a picture. Baal was just a figment of their imagination, according to you. Let me ask you something. What difference did it make that the Jews might call God Baal? They didn't know Yahweh's name for centuries. Baal, Molech, Yahweh, who cares? God is God, right? The Apostle Paul didn't seem to care. He saw an altar to an unknown God and said, "Hey, let me tell you about him." Then he quoted a poet who referred to Zeus, claiming those characteristics for Yahweh. Either that or he was actually referring to Zeus. Paul didn't care if Christians believed in other gods along with Yahweh. He said to his readers, that's fine. These people don't know any better. Love them and don't offend them. He didn't tell his readers to teach these ignoramuses or shun them or kill them, as the Old Testament said to do when people actually worshipped other gods or even talked about worshiping other gods. No, it was okay to believe in other gods. It was just wrong, that is, angering to Yahweh, wrong, to worship the other gods. Some of the people of Paul's day were afraid to eat meat that had been offered to these gods because they believed the gods were real. And Paul was okay with that. The Jews believed in other gods. They worshipped other gods. Do you think they were completely stupid? Did they say, yeah, we know Yahweh is the creator of everything. He's in everything and through everything, and he's the real deal. And there is no other God. But you know, I think I'll go over here and worship this stump. No. They thought maybe the other gods would be better to them than Yahweh was. And apparently the Queen of Heaven was. They viewed Yahweh the same way they viewed Baal, the same way they viewed Moloch, the same way they viewed Ashtoreth, the same way they viewed Tammuz. And Yahweh was okay with that. He saw the other gods as real too. They were his rivals. It's just that Yahweh was the God of Israel. They had a covenant with him, a covenant not to worship the other gods. So they had to fulfill their covenant. They had a responsibility to Yahweh. They kiss his feet, he gives them food and safety. They scratch his back, he scratches theirs. And when they didn't live up to that responsibility, they were committing adultery. They were cheating on Yahweh with the other real to them and real to Yahweh gods. And you'd say they were committing adultery like my husband with the stick figure. Really, with an imaginary woman that my husband made up in his head and liked better than he liked a real woman. But that's not how they saw it, and it's not how Yahweh saw it. He despised the other gods. He was always ranting about them. But you think Yahweh was all jealous about a stick-figure God and that he rushed down to prove he was more powerful than a stick figure. No, he was in it to win it. He was determined to show his power and might in the presence of the mighty Baal. He might lie back in his easy chair and ignore the cries of starving little children, but he was all ready to prove he was more powerful than a fake God. And he won, and Elijah was thrilled. By the way, Baal had 450 prophets. Do you think his prophets didn't dream dreams and see visions too? Do you think they didn't write stories about their God? Of course they did. Baal went down into the underworld and conquered death. This was written on tablets that date to the 14th century BCE. And Moses' Song of the Sea in Exodus 15 mimics the Ugaritic Baal story in his battle with Yam, the sea god. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's a reason we don't wake up in the morning to find a story on Facebook about Prince William and Prince Charming playing cricket together. Will is real, and Prince Charming is a figment of our imagination. The Duchess of Cambridge doesn't sit down to tea with Cinderella. At least she hasn't since she's been a grown woman and gave up fairy tales. As with princes and princesses, so with gods and goddesses. A true God doesn't do battle with fake gods. If Moloch and Baal, gods whom Yahweh fought, aren't real, we ought to assume the same about Yahweh. Anyway, this is who gave you your God. This is who told you your God was real. People who also thought there were many gods out there running around. People who believed in stick figure gods. People who saw Yahweh as being in the same class as stick figure gods, like Baal and Moloch and Ashtoreth. People who believed the Queen of Heaven provided for them even more than they believed Yahweh did. They thought this goddess acted in their lives. They saw her actions the same as they saw Yahweh's. So why would you believe what they thought about him, but not what they thought about her? Sure, Yahweh was their particular tribal god, so of course he ended up being better than all the rest. And of course they were condemned by him for not obeying him. But they didn't know a God from a knot on a log. They worshipped stick figure gods. And you trust them to tell you who the one true God is. And you depend on them for everything you need to know pertaining to life and godliness. And you do this despite the fact that the stick figure God they gave you sanctions the murder of little babies and making merchandise of human beings. And you call it all good. And you use the rules and morality of this stick figure monstrous God to try to control the lives of other people. And he's not real. He's a stick figure. So you are the one who sanctions the murder of innocent babies. You are the one who sanctions human trafficking. You are the one who thinks it's good and holy to kill a newborn baby as a punishment for his father's sin. You have made yourself into a god, just as all people do when they create gods in their own image. And you want me to bow down to you. And it ain't happening. Thank you for watching.